Is your money real, or are they ultimately receipts for what used to be real money? One thing that can't be denied, inflation is real. With a 2% target as the Fed's ultimate goal, not zero, that means a 2% loss of your wealth year over year. Ultimately, what the Fed chairman sees in the economic tea leaves is not within your control. However, protection of your retirement savings is in your control. This should be motivated by knowledge and confidence, not fear. If you think you may be falling behind in your financial goals, see the video description to access the free Inflation Retirement Calculator to make sure that you are on track. Also, please share your experience in the comments. To better understand the necessity of real tangible assets for wealth preservation, we will hear from economist and investor Keith Weiner, former congressman, author, and activist Ron Paul, economist, White House advisor, and author Jim Rickards, and CEO of Shapeshift, Erik Voorhees.
As we all know, mankind has used many different things as money. Monies come and go, and the adoption of one monetary standard over another is the rule rather than the exception throughout history. But a society's choice of money is not arbitrary. There are certain attributes of money which seem preferable to others. Gold scores highly on these attributes, which is why it has remained an indelible monetary standard for millennia.
Of course, from 1933 to 1975, it was illegal for Americans to own gold. It was like drugs. Or finally in 1975, the Ford administration repealed that so Americans could own gold. So in 1980, when Ronald Reagan ran for president, and it wasn't that long that we had been off the gold standard, it was 71, so we're only talking 9 years later, there was a lot of momentum in the Reagan conservative camp to go back to the gold standard. So what Reagan did as a candidate does what politicians always do. He said, well, we'll have a commission to study it. So they did appoint a gold commission in 1981. However, the commission was divided, and as is often the case, the minority was allowed to file a minority report. Now, the minority was Lou Lehrman, Ron Paul, some very interesting gold advocates.
Gold and silver is money. Money is different than stocks and bonds. And money's been different. And actually paper, Federal Reserve, is just not money. It's a substitute for money, and it's fraud. What's happening, it's a hidden tax. This is the reason the monetary issue is so important to me, because ultimately, if you want to protect liberty and the size of government, you have to have honest money.
People say, oh, I've got money in money market funds. Another misnomer or oxymoron, because the SEC recently issued a rule saying that money market funds can suspend redemption. So everyday Americans think that they can call up their broker, sell their money market fund units, the money will be wired to their account and will be available to them the next day. Well, that's a nice, warm, cozy assumption, but none of those assumptions are necessarily true. First of all, money market funds were in the process of becoming illiquid in 2008, and the government stepped in to bail them out. Today, they're allowed to suspend redemptions just like a hedge fund, so they don't have to give you your money. And again, people say none of these things will happen, and I just point out they have all happened. So I don't recommend taking all your money out of the bank or selling all your stocks or cashing in everything and buying 100% gold. What I recommend is about 10% gold, 10% of your investable assets. Take about 10%, get gold. That's your insurance policies.
Just a quick interruption to say thank you for supporting our channel. Please like and subscribe if you enjoy this video content. It really does make a difference. Also, a quick mention and shout out to one of our sponsors, American Hartford Gold. American Hartford Gold is a leading gold investment company that helps individuals and families diversify and protect their wealth with precious metals. Whether you are starting a brand new gold IRA or rolling over an existing account, the company will make this process seamless and stress-free. With endorsements from respected and renowned voices across America, and one of the lowest investment minimums in the gold IRA industry, American Hartford Gold makes it easy to get started investing in precious metals. To find out more about American Hartford Gold and how this trusted gold investment company can help safeguard your coveted retirement savings, see the link in the video description to visit American Hartford Gold's official site to receive a free gold investing guide. Also, check out our video review of American Hartford Gold by clicking the link in the top right. Now, back to the episode.
Fiat works pretty well, right? It's got pyramids and government buildings printed on it, so you know it's valuable. Also, it is backed by paper. Paper can be burned if you're cold in the winter. There's its intrinsic value. Try that with gold. But a skeptical observer should know that fiat money is an absolute scam, and something altogether inappropriate for an ethical market-based society. As I like to say, you cannot have a free market when the most important good, money itself, is centrally planned and controlled. Fiat money and a market economy are mutually exclusive concepts. Like oil and water, they can certainly be mixed up together when force is applied, but they will naturally separate and dispel one another over time. Indeed, the average lifespan of fiat is less than 50 years. The US dollar only became fiat in 1971.
Gold's seizure by the government in 1933, Roosevelt had two reasons for taking the gold, and they both had to do with he wanted to manipulate the money, because at that time, obviously, gold was the root of the monetary system. He wanted to stop the run on the banks when people withdrawing their gold coin was a run, which today it wouldn't be. And secondly, every time somebody withdrew a gold coin, it forced the bank to sell a bond, which would push the bond price down, which is the same as pushing the interest rate up, and Roosevelt wanted to push it down. So the government today doesn't have the motives that Roosevelt had in 1933. I don't think they're likely to care about it. If anything, they'd be cheering on if the price of gold is going up, every buying and selling, generating capital gains taxes. I think they'd be laughing and collecting the taxes on it. The state of Texas passed, I forget what their act was called, but created a gold depository. The depository itself is not all that interesting. There's a lot of depositories around the country, but the law contains a provision that the state of Texas would be obliged to stand up if there were to be a confiscation from the federal government. The state of Texas would somehow be obliged to stand and defend your gold. I have no idea how that would work out. That sounds like a constitutional crisis, if not an armed, standoff. I don't have any clue as to how that would work, but that's kind of an interesting feature of that. Other than that, there's your usual suspects, your Brinkses and your Loomises that have vaults around the country, particularly Delaware. There's several, and I would generally recommend, because of the risk of certainly fire, flood, but also home invasion, you shouldn't really have the majority of your wealth at home. It should be in a professional depository, not a bank depository, but a private depository.
Gold holds a proven, time-tested track record as an economic constant that spans millennia. Why is it important to have an economic constant? What is the main question every person planning their retirement or building a business needs to ask themselves? Are we growing wealth or losing wealth? And how do we measure this? Gold is that tool. With a 5,000-year record that has withstood every economic business cycle, stock market booms and busts, global conflicts, and outlasting every faith-based fiat currency, gold is no one's liability. It builds wealth while preserving it. Owning physical gold and precious metals requires responsible sourcing of grades, purity, condition, the best prices, transparency, and most of all, security and storage. Gold IRAs are a tax-deferred means of owning physical gold and ensuring all these investing principles are met. We have reviewed and vetted the best gold IRA companies that meet all these requirements. See the link in the video description to access the free gold investment guides. An often used criticism for holding gold is the opportunity cost of gaining yields elsewhere, such as bonds or high-quality equities. Monetary Metals is a gold investment company that unlocks the productivity of gold by offering a yield on gold paid in gold. Monetary Metals delivers interest on gold through the company's gold fixed income investments, which aim to provide a fixed return with low risk of loss. This provides investors exposure to gold's unique attributes, plus a real yield that grows your total of gold ounces held. To learn more about Monetary Metals and their innovative investment products, see the link in the video description. If you have $100K of retirement savings to protect and want to take advantage of the best gold prices, see the link in the video description to sign up for the free Gold and Silver Web Conference hosted by Augusta Precious Metals. Thank you for watching.